next, and to be honest, quite a lot. We're not going to show anything extremely new. You guys have seen already a lot, but we're going to give much more details than we have. And yeah, we're going to be able to go through some more interesting opportunities that are going to start being built. Okay, let's just wait maybe until 5, so like a few more, 1 more minute, and then we'll start. Okay, well, let's start slowly. So you guys can probably see the screen. We're kind of trying to meme something into reality. That has been the case for the past week. It's simply that Paladin is kind of a safe place in a lot of different meanings for people during this crash. The first place it is safe in is that if your assets are deposited into Paladin, they do not risk liquidation. So you're just keeping the exposure you have on this product. For example, Aave right now you can farm almost 40% APY just by holding Stake Aave, which is pretty crazy considering the time, right? But that's super interesting. The other thing we have seen is that PAL is significantly less volatile than other tokens right now. We will explain a bit more why later on. But and the third reason is that we basically released the staking and locking system last week, which is totally random, but it's super fortunate because it means that most of the liquidity is simply not available on the market today. So this is why you're probably not seeing as much move on Paladin. It's going to give us the time to show you that we're actually quite a cash flow heavy project. We're going to become one pretty quickly. Okay, see, there's quite a lot of people, so let's start. Let's talk about Quest. Let's talk about Paladin, and it's a fun one. So first, guys, we did say it before, but it's been a tough week. I hope everyone is okay. The goal of this community call, it's a Hopium community call. It's to show you how dynamic we are and what's coming. And it's pretty crazy, to be honest, in the next few weeks, what's going to come at Paladin. First of all, let's have a very quick macro outlook. We can call a Lehman Brothers moment what happened in crypto today and the last week. It won't affect governance. These protocols, they're immutable. They're still going to have to run, and we are still going to have to run these protocols. That's the first thing. The second thing is that if you look at the picture, that's actually the price action of PAL compared to ETH. We're totally overperforming the market, which is pretty crazy. The third thing, which is very important, is that these immutable protocols, Curve, Aave, Alchemix, Liquidity, they are all running insanely fine. I don't know how much time you guys have been in crypto. I've been in crypto for like 5 or 6, more than 6 years. Nothing bugged. Nothing went wrong on these protocols. And if you look at even in 2020, all of the liquidations, a lot of had to be done manually and adapted. This was not the case. Like the Carve and Aave guys could sleep on their ears very easily tonight, which is pretty crazy. So DeFi is working extremely well. The governance process on top of them are running well. These protocols are still making money. I would even argue that they are making a ton of money because of this price section. So we can still keep working as usual. The fourth thing that's really important is that there is 4.2 million PAL in circulation. So that's roughly just under $4 million of market cap. 35% of it is staked or locked, and 35, even a bit more, 40% is DAO owned. This means that there is less than 30% of the whole supply that is liquid. So this is why the token is not dumping a lot. It's simply because there is not much liquidity available. So we're doing super well, guys. I wanted to use the imagery of the bunker, but Koga has been telling me that we should talk about the keep simply because it's more thematic, right? So it's what we call the safe keep. Paladin is becoming a safe keep. And the last thing, that's not the least thing, is that enormous opportunities are appearing. And we as a DAO are going to have to be on the lookout and be able to seize these opportunities. One example, which is pretty crazy, it's simply that because PAL has been pretty resistant to the market and Aave hasn't, PAL stake Aave was devalued and not our PAL. So the liquidity mining is substantially higher. And we can see if we're attracting or not more liquidity because we're offering 40% on Aave, which is a lot. And yet, we're not attracting more. So that's a good macro outlook. Market is bad. It's probably going to keep bleeding. And when the market is in this state, what we call a bear market, it's the best time for projects to actually show what they have, the guts they have. We as a core team, we have transparently over 2 years of runway, so we can keep building for a while, guys. There is no worry about that. We're just going to keep killing it. We really want to, and you'll see in the next few slides that there is a lot that can be done. So, as mentioned previously about the tokenomics, we released the Holy Pal last week. 1.4 million tokens were staked, and out of these 1.4 millions, 850,000 were locked. That's quite a lot. We're doing really well. We are redoing delegations for the HPAL. It is not live yet. It should be live. I don't want to say tomorrow, but it should be live next week probably. Don't forget to redelegate afterwards if you are not participating. This is very important to keep to have a really vivid community. This is something a very big strength for DAO has had. So yeah, Holy Pal came at the right moment, and we had an extremely fast first week on the locking. We hope we're going to push the staking higher in terms of supply locked and staked, but we will see. We know the market's a bit complicated. So what's next about the protocol on liquidity? 1.5 months ago, we raised the $750,000 in ETH, right? We started putting it as liquidity on Curve, and we're gonna start being able to farm with it, guys. Last Friday, our gauge passed on Curve. I'm not sure it's been deployed this week or it's going to be deployed this next week, but this means that all of the CRV that's going to vote for us in the gauge is going to start helping our DAO accumulate CRV. And according to simulations, if we do well with our strategy or with Quest, we should be able to accumulate several thousands of CRV per week, which means we're going to start having actual revenue for the DAO, which is good. Second thing we're going to do is that we're going to switch the PAL USDC pool into a PAL Frax pool on Balancer. So we're going to start being able to collaborate with Frax on this, and we're also going to ask to get a gauge to repeat the same strategy we've been doing on Curve, but on Balancer. The third thing we're going to start doing, and we've been thinking about, and I hope you will look at the deals we're going to put on the forums very soon, is that we're actually going to start doing OTC swaps, or we're thinking about doing them. We've been discussing with AP Wine because we have an integration with them. We have been discussing with Prime DAO. We think we have very aligned goals. And the goal will be to diversify treasury into these tough times. To be fully transparent, guys, we are at an advantage in these OTC deal swaps today, simply because our market cap did not crash. It's the truth. So we have to be careful about that. So the intentions are not taken badly. But as we will evolve as a DAO, we have to fix ourselves goals. And between the revenue we're going to generate in the next 6 months and not even counting the OTC deals, we have to want over $1 million of treasury outside of protocol and liquidity and outside of Cloud Token. If by the end of the year we have generated $1 million of treasury, then that means two things. One, as a as a DAO, we are sustainable in the sense that we can pay the technical team if any problem comes in. And two, it means that we're actually generating enough cash to actually deserve more than the current value we have. So it means that even in tough times like the ones we have, we're actually flexible enough to create value. And that's a really important point, especially right now, because what we're seeing is that because of the big crash, the multiples of valuations are going to be significantly smaller. People are not going to raise a seed round, Series A, Series B at 50, 100, 200x multiples their revenue. This is over. Getting revenue is going to become one of the most important things, and doing smart things with your treasury. So this is something we have to be very careful on, and we will keep evolving on this issue. So that's about protocol liquidity. Now let's talk about state of Paladin. This was taken today, guys. So post crash, as you can see, No one, not even one person, removed their stake Aave this week from the stake Aave pool. We did not grow. We have not grown a lot the past month. We are actually at, I think, 61,200 in the last month, and we're at 61,600 right now. So it's kind of the normal growth through farming that we're getting right now. But it's good and bad at the same time. It means that we have a strong proposal and people are happy with it, but it also means we've hit a first wall in terms of growth, and we will have to rethink about how we can keep that pulse stake Aave pool growing. I think it's very important that we maintain this pulse stake Aave pool, not just because it's bringing us a use case and potential money from vote lending, but also because the Aave community is rethinking their tokenomics. And this means that we will be able to branch out a very strong vote lending suite for the tokenomics directly when they release, because we will already have the liquidity. So yeah, this is something we were seeing, and that's important. About this, we just published a proposal about the liquidity mining. So there's two things that are very important. The first is that Paladin can't superperform the market, as we mentioned. So Pal price stayed relatively the same, and everything tanked. So it means that APY today are much higher than they were before, and they're probably going to stay this way for a few weeks. So we think we should reduce the number of Pal allocated to reduce the selling pressure, which would enable us to actually uh, push the price higher, simply because there's going to be less Pal on the market. So we're offering to reduce the following ones: reducing the curve pool and the stake Aave pool, stopping slowly the AP1 liquidity mining, and switching to an anti-sweep swap. So it means that the people who will be staking into AP1 will earn much more APW but less PAL, and we will stop the uni pool. Also, we have a surprise in a few weeks. So we would like to get 15,000 PAL per month for an upcoming pool. That's going to be pretty cool. And that's on top of what we're going to have to release for Warden. So yeah, the reason is that today we've hit a stable cap for the Pulse Tech Ave, and we're gonna need to basically renew our strategy. So in the meantime, before we do, I think we need to slowly just count down a bit the emission rate. Very important, the liquidity mining campaign is theoretically ending end of May. We will not let it end. We will uh, create a proposal in a few weeks maximum to keep the proposal going because we think liquidity mining is extremely important right now. Okay, now let's talk about the really interesting stuff. Let's talk about Warden. So Warden has been very slowly finding its use case. As you guys can see, we have over 100, I think we're at over 120 offers on the market. I'd have to check, and over 5.2 million VCRV that are managed by Warden. This week we have roughly 500,000 VCRV boosts that were sold, and I think we should aim of getting something like the equivalent of 50 million VCRV sold on a weekly basis on Warden. This is a real goal we should fix ourselves. If you see, we're slowly starting to grow because people are slowly understanding the use case. So we're working on a few things that are going to make this use case explode. But more than anything else, what you guys have to understand is that a lot of the CRV was being allocated to large, deep stablecoin pools, which meant that the liquidity mining was very small. It was like, for example, between 0.5 and 2% on most curve pools. So it was not very interesting to getting boosted, simply because there was not a huge spread between the min boost and the max boost. There's three factors that makes it that this is going to change a lot. First, there's a lot less liquidity on the side chains. So if we're able to boost on side chains or on other chains, there will be huge opportunities for people who are farming on Polygon, on Phantom, and on other potential chains. Second, curve V2 pools also are less deep, so which means that you have much more APY. If you're currently looking, there's a few of them who are between 80 and 215% CRV. So if you're paying 2, 3, 4, 5% per year your boost, and you're getting 150% extra in terms of liquidity mining in CRV, it's super worth for you, right? So this is kind of the point. The point is that there's going to be a lot of opportunities. And the third thing is that because of the crash, there is a lot of liquidity that is leaving these stablecoin pools. So as you can see in this screenshot, you actually have quite a lot of stable coins that are in this pool. For example, the €3 pool is between 17 and 43% in CRV. So if you're looking at it right now, you could actually pay 3, 5, 2, 3, 4% to get your boost on the landing and get 30% more CRV simply because you're getting boosted. So you're making 27% spread. There's a lot of money to be made in this current market, and I think Warden is going to be an exceptional way to get there. And I'm not just talking about potential farmers or people who are here. I'm also talking about our DAO. So trust me, we will not miss this opportunity. And to be honest, if no one wants to buy the boost, I think our DAO is going to be very happy to buy as much as possible of it. So now I talked about the market opportunity with Warden. Maybe it's time to talk a bit more about the new Warden, because we are not just releasing Quest, we're also revamping the whole interface of Warden, and we're redoing a few contracts. So what is going to change in Warden? We listened a lot to your feedback in January and in February, and we decided not to market too much Warden before actually making these changes because we thought they would be game changers. So people who will be selling their boost on Warden will now be able to limit the number of weeks they want to sell the boost to. So you cannot have someone buying 10 years your boost. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we created an easy mode for people to basically not have to put the price, and our DAO will dictate a market price that is basically going to change depending on the opportunities on the market. This means that you will basically be able to have a dynamic offer for your CRV. So that's the two things that are really cool under the smart contract layer. We also redid the interface, and trust me, the devs have bled for that. So first of all, you can see that's like basically the main screen. Your dashboard, you can see how much you're going to claim, what's your AUM, what your CRV and VCRV have. You can directly relog through our interface. It's going to push you to the CRV website, and you can manage your VCRV, who you're selling them to, what you're selling to. That's the cool part. And where it gets really cool is that we basically also thought it would be a cool way not just to be the home of the CRV holders, but also of the Curve LPs. So now you will be able to see on Warden all of the LP you have, or what the APR you're getting, and how much boost you're getting. And through that, you will just be able to go directly into Warden and see how much it would cost to max boost you, and you could buy the boost directly. So it's going to become the best farming simulator for Curve, which is pretty cool. And that's for Warden. On top of that, as you can see under that, we have the Curve deposits, and just under the gate weights. So you will be able to manage your boosts and selling them, your Curve LPs and maximizes the revenue on them, and you will also be able to see what you're doing with your gateway vote. Are you participating, or are you buying someone else? And how much are you earning with this? And this is really cool. That's Quest, basically, guys. Quest is going to be this extra layer that's going to allow people to basically get more gauge weight. So yeah, so it's not leaking in the sense that we will be out very, very soon. In theory, our hope is to be released not for this week of gauge, but for the next week. So every Wednesday evening, there is a new gauge weight that is started for 7 days. So we're hoping to get released in the week of the week of the 19th, during that weight vote. And we will start with launch partners if they didn't get touched too much by the current market crash, but it should be okay. And we will also be creating a quest. So why is quest good for you? First, you're going to get a stable yield in one asset, so you can choose which token you want. And that's really good, because it means that if you want just PAL, if you want just a USDC or another partner who is putting, you can just get there. You're not going to have to switch to all of these different assets you might get by giving voting in the gauge. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we're pushing for partners to actually create a quest for longer than 1 week. And the longer you're voting in a project, the more likely you are to get the rewards, right? So this is going to be a very cool part. It's permissionless. You just have to add. We have to whitelist the assets, so not every assets can be used, but they can just be used for any gauge whatsoever. So it's going to be a huge opportunity, and as you guys can probably see, it's very interesting because a lot of people are also adopting the V-token economics, right? Now, this is cool for users, but why is this better for DAOs? So it's going to create longer term options for them. Instead of competing every week, they can think of strategies on a longer time frame. And what's cool is that they're not thinking on an amount of money, but they're thinking on an amount of money per VCRV. So it's VCRV acquisition cost. The difference is that it's going to help them have a much more data-driven approach. And because we are entering a bear market where projects have significantly less money, it's going to become very important for them to actually check and understand how they're spending their money. So yeah, that's about it. Oh, I forgot to say, but once you have a data-driven approach, it is cheaper. So projects are going to be incentivized to come to Quest simply because we're going to offer them cheaper insights than what they currently can get on other platforms like Fortune. If you look today at the market, Convex and CRV are basically paying 1.5 to 2 cents on the dollar per VCRV to buy the vote on a weekly basis, and most DAOs are paying between 6 and 9 cents. So they're getting 4 to 5 times cheaper VCRV than the other projects are, simply because they understand the market better. Our idea is that we can help the other people make this spread simply. And we, as a DAO, will just be taking 5% of all the quests. So yeah, that's the business model, guys. And we're going to start accumulating tokens. Okay. Thank you for showing up, guys. We will be handing out POAPs. Yeah, so they will be distributed starting next week. We talked about a lot of things. I hope you have questions. Now is the time for the AMA. So I don't know how many questions you have, but if not, we won't take too much time. So as we mentioned, our goal is to make $1 million of revenue by the end of the year. It's as simple as that. I really think we can start doing it. We have 3 very strong building blocks on vote lending, and this is what we're gonna start building on top of them. Yeah. Oh yeah, you mean the business model on Quest? Yeah, it's to be honest, it's going to be pretty crazy because we're going to have Quest and Warden. So it means people who come in for Quest are going to stay because they're also selling their boost. So it is simply more competitive to sell your boost and your gauge than just your gauge. And on the other hand, if people come in and sell just their boost, they're going to say, oh, I can also sell my gauge weight. So they're also going to come in and sell their gauge weight. So we should expect at least 5 million VCRV available to vote just on our platform simply because they're already selling their boost today. Oh, I'm saying so. I'm going to start by Eli 5 and what's happening with the sister DAO. So the sister DAO is in the planning moment right now. We're still discussing the details. It's a bit complicated to get going from the get-go. We would like to get it going like for the beginning of Q4. That's kind of the target I'm going for. We will have to see in terms of development, in terms of planning. Might be a bit postponed, a few days or a few weeks in terms of discussion, simply because the market is raking a lot of people. So I think the strong profiles we're working with right now need a bit of time for themselves. So yeah, that's about the sister DAO. And yes, we are going to, this call is recorded. It's going to be put on our YouTube channel as always. About the orders, yes, we're sorry about that. We will start with the marketing order. We're still inching out the final details, guy. It's just that there's been a lot of things that are being released, as you saw, like the new version of Warden. There's Quest. There's the Tokenomics that just released, and there's a few other cool things in the pipes. Plus everything that's been happening with the market. Oh, do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about the orders, Tom? By the way, anyone can unlock their mic and talk if they have to. Just try to do it in an order.
Yeah, sure. So just a quick thing about the orders. We've been discussing the details more like internally, but I think next week when Alejandro's back, we should hold a contributor call so that everyone in the DAO who's interested in joining the marketing order can come in and discuss with us the final details, and then I think we're ready to package it and prepare it for governance.
By the way, guys, we're in one of the most difficult weeks of crypto, probably ever. and there's over 75 people in this community call. So just want to say that thank you for coming and for trusting us. We literally aim to keep creating value for people who deposited with us, who people who are the stakeholders of Paladin. I think we've been doing a relatively good job considering everything that's been happening, but we have so much more in stores, and we want to keep shipping. We want to keep doing very hard, doing very hard things. Simply, what's kind of funny is that we had a very big rush week that's going to end next week, and we're like maybe we're gonna be able to rest after that a bit. Seems that not that much because the market is pretty crazy. But yeah, guys, we're so excited about the rest. So for Eli 5, we have a contributor call that's probably going to be next Thursday. We try to have them every 2 weeks. It hasn't been announced yet. We're probably going to announce it on Monday. Apologies for that. Okay, guys. Any other questions? By the way, you guys might not have seen, but we've significantly upped our graphic design and communication game. We've hired someone who's been killing it. So, yeah. Joseph, if you can hear us, we're doing super good work about that. And I think it's really cool to have a hired.
Pretty great.
Yep.
Looks like Unicorn had a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Unicorn. You had a question?
No, he wrote it down. He said, wants to know how are we going to sell products? What's the biz strategy?
Oh, I hadn't seen it. I'm sorry. So this is something we're still working on, obviously. We've been looking at the people who have been looking for stability into Curve, or who haven't already been buying bribes on Curve. We've been especially focusing on the smaller players, so the ones who wanted less than 2.5% of the gauge, and we've been contacting them, showing them the solution, running simulation with them to convince them that it was the right choice. We looked at a small sample right now. The next step is going to be to find people who are not using it but who would actually benefit from using it, and yeah, that's the basic goal. For Curve LPs, literally for Warden, we're going to start seeing, we've already started doing it, but we're going to start seeing yield aggregators and people who are creating votes and showing them that it's probably going to be more worthwhile to actually use Warden Quest than going simply on Curve or even on Convex, especially considering how the price of CVX has been exploded midway and how they're leering into a very high diminution of the distribution. So yeah, there's going to be all of this that is happening. So we're still in the process of structuring. We're going to need your help, but yeah, right now it's pretty crazy how many things we've been doing. Okay, any other things? Okay, guys. Well, thank you for showing up. Thank you for spending 45 minutes listening to us ramble. Expect a lot. Expect a lot from us because we've been working a lot for these big releases. And we wanted to release the article of Quest today. Since the market is bad, we think we're going to not receive a lot of attention for doing so. So we're going to wait a bit more. It's not going to delay the release of Quest, just the article. We're probably going to release it early next week. But yeah, we're going to go big. We're gonna try and start making a lot of money. We're gonna start accumulating. We're gonna start making some cool things. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Enjoy your day. I hope everyone is safe. Everyone is doing well. And yeah, it's always a pleasure.